the boat from FIT. So here you see we're underway here, 500 meters into our next race, which is the women's Division II, Division III Varsity 4 final. Lane 1 here is Marietta. Lane 2 is Rollins. Lane 3 is Thomas Jefferson. Lane 4 is Tampa. Lane 5 is Union. And in lane 6 is RIT, Rochester Tech. Looks like our lead boats here through that 500-meter mark are your lane 3 and 4 pole position boats. That is Thomas Jefferson and Tampa, your 2 leaders early on here in the women's Division II, Division III Varsity 4.
Yeah, we are going to, again, try to get some stroke rates for you here because this is, again, I'm guessing going to shape up to be quite a race. This is a very competitive field here. We've seen some great lineups from all of these teams out here. So let us look, again, this lane 3 and 4, that is Jefferson and Tampa in the lead right now with the red blades. And again, we're going to try to get some numbers for you as we come into view with our current leaders. So again, that is Tampa, followed very close by Jefferson. Tampa rowing at about a 34, 35.
Yeah, and some interesting stats here from yesterday's time trial. There were only 7 boats in this event, so it was a top 6 in the time trial to the finish. So, you know, an opportunity for some of these boats to maybe know if they had some speed that they didn't need to go their best race. And you're seeing that play out here as Thomas Jefferson did have the fastest time in qualifying by about 11 seconds, or 10.5 seconds rather, over this boat from Tampa. But through the 1,000 meter mark, which we are approaching in just a little bit, Tampa up by about 3 to 4 seconds here on this Thomas Jefferson boat. And wow, look at that. No one really all that close to either of these 2 boats as Tampa continues to try and push away from this boat from Thomas Jefferson. You see there, 1,000 meters down, 1,000 meters left to go. This is where your body starts to ask some questions of your brain, and it's on your training and your fitness to be able to answer those questions that your body begins to ask. Especially in a 4. Sometimes rowing in a 4 can be a bit heavier than rowing in a larger boat like an 8. So just getting a 4 up to speed and keeping it up at speed can be a little bit of a harder task for our sweep rowers. 4s are just a clunky boat size and are, you know, just a difficult race, in my opinion, to row. We see so many of these 4s at these Division II, Division III levels because they're a little bit easier to boat to get more rowers into the event. But it is a difficult discipline, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, these 4s are so touchy and they are quite difficult. We talked a lot about the pairs yesterday and about how difficult a Cox 4 can be because they're also quite sensitive. And when they don't go well, it can be very difficult to kind of get them back on track.
Yeah.
You probably know this yourself. Would you say the same? Is there any difference in a Cox 4 versus a straight 4, you think, when it comes to kind of getting them back on track when things start to go awry?
Definitely. I mean, I think anybody who's ever rowed knows that rowers left to their own devices can be catty, to say the least. And, you know, fractures can happen pretty easily. It can, you know, especially if you're a bow person who can see the rest of the boat and is also in a straightforward, you know, it's their job to call things out. If they're not the right personality, things can go sour pretty quickly. So you need, you know, a bit of a leader in a straight 4 in that bow seat. But that leader role in these boats is really taken by the coxswain, lets the bow person just focus on following and rowing their best race possible, kind of simplifies things for the rowers in the boat. The stroke seat has a little bit of a harder time, I think, with a Cox 4 than, you know, maybe a Cox 8, not being able to see and, you know, have that, you know, relationship with the coxswain as much. So it makes, I think, the strokes job a little bit more difficult. But nonetheless, we're seeing a really impressive row here from these Tampa women and they have moved well into first place here. But again, I think 4 rowing is very difficult. You're right; the boat can get offset pretty easily here, and it can devolve pretty quickly. And it's the job of that coxswain to try and center the rowers and keep them focused throughout the race.
Yeah, it really is, and it takes a lot of discipline on the coxswain's part too to actually cox a bow loader 4 like this. You've taken away your sense of sight essentially on your crew, so you really have to be good at listening and feeling. So it really takes a good coxswain in a bow loader can really make or break a lot of these races. So if they have the boat feel to kind of keep their crew moving, they've spent a lot of time in there, they know when somebody's a little bit early, somebody's a little bit late, or something is going on in the boat to be a little bit disruptive. A good coxswain in a bow loader will be able to identify that just by listening and feeling to what is going on behind them. And that's very difficult. That takes a lot of strokes in a bow loader to be able to feel that. So
absolutely, and you're seeing in that Tampa boat, they're getting a little excited here. 250 meters left to go. We just saw a little bit of white water at their finishes, maybe dropping down to one side at the finish for a few strokes there. Again, it can be exciting as you head into that last 500, and you start to take your sprint, and that the gold medal is within reach. It can be difficult. Sometimes you just need to take a second to recenter yourself and know that you have not too far to go, and wow, really close there. Looks like we had some geese in the way of the Tampa boat. That is one of the issues here on this Cooper River, is that you'll see the geese just kind of hanging out on the race course throughout the day today. It will be one of the obstacles as Tampa does win the Division II, Division III, 4 final, not affected by the geese at the end of the race there, luckily.
That's right. A little bit of wildlife sighting here. The locals, they know to hopefully stay out of the way. But yeah, here comes lane 3. This is Jefferson crossing the line now.
Interesting here, you're starting to see those waves here grow just a little bit. You're starting to see a little bit of capping as finishing in 3rd place here is the boat from Union. And they'll take bronze in that women's Division II, Division III event. In the 4, finishing 4th is Rollins. But yeah, so interesting to see. I don't think that this is particularly unrowable here just yet, but it is starting to pick up a little bit, and you can see it as Marietta finishes up 5th there. Rochester Tech will finish 6th in that event. But as you can see from our launch camera,